Welcome back to Fishing Without Bait, a lifetime without definitive expectations, where we help people create themselves rather than find themselves, where the only entrance requirement is the honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness to try. And we're continuing our fascinating conversation with Ryan and his journeys through wrestling and mental health. And Ryan, there's folks out there that are going to be listening to this podcast saying, Ryan's telling my story.
I'm sorry. But
that's important.
Well, thanks for listening. And I'm sorry that I don't, maybe sometimes I would like to hear, I'm sorry. And I think in a lot of instances where people have been bad to me or left a scar emotionally, through physical or verbal, whatever, manipulation, whatever, I would like to hear I'm sorry. And I've had to learn that it's not coming. So can I say it? And I hate when people say it to me, but I'm sorry, and I know, and this sucks, doesn't it? But you got to keep going forward. There's literally no other option.
Well, I never give anybody sympathy because all sympathy does is participate in a person's misery. And in the 12-step world, we say sympathy kills people.
Tell me more about that.
Well, if a person came in and started to tell me all this story, and session after session, I held their hand and told them how sore I was for them.
Right.
Where would we get?
Nowhere. Yeah.
What I tell them is, I said,
so that's a one-off. Everyone gets one.
I'm never going to tell you I'm sorry, but I'm going to give you all the encouragement and support that I possibly can.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'd rather point out.
Yeah, that's better.
I'd rather point out your gifts, talents, and abilities, and let's work from there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It sounds like there was no joy in your life at all.
I shudder to say that too. There were times, there absolutely were times that were joyous and good and so much better than my folks' lives. But what sticks out is the consistency of that environment and always being on edge. But it gave me this barrier to reach before I felt like I could have a good time. Even with them, I wasn't sure if I could be safe to smile, laugh, be joyous. And as a high energy person and kid, I was, and sometimes I still am a little annoying to people, a little grating or more than a little grating. And I get it. Goodness.
Well,
yeah.
So sometimes in the 12-step world and in the therapy world too, at some point we started talking about forgiveness. Mm-hmm. And Ryan, forgiveness is not exonerating the other person, wiping the slate clean like it never existed. You don't even have to say the words to them.
Right.
But what it is, it's you identifying those toxic feelings, those emotions that you've been carrying around with you and letting them go.
Mm.
You don't even have to say the words to them. It's not making out that they're the greatest people in the world and this never happened. It's you releasing that toxicity, releasing those emotions. And that's real important stuff.
Yeah. And that's work I can only do in here.
Well, that's work that perhaps you might want to
actually work with someone on. I take that back. You're right.
Mm-hmm. You might want to get back into therapy if you're not in it now.
Goodness gracious, if I didn't just email my therapist because the holidays were a mess, but I am thinking about switching things up anyway. It's been I'll divulge. Well, we meet at the end of the week and it's decompression, but I don't know if I'm ever really getting to the root of anything.
Do you think you're worth it?
I think I'm worth
getting well? Do you think you're worth dealing with these things?
Oh yeah. I mean, that's why I like to talk to a therapist at all. But it what my sessions have become now are a wind down for the week, and it's just bad positioning. And so recently it's been I think I'm going to switch it up, and because I don't feel challenged in it. I haven't been feeling that way for the past maybe 5 or 6 sessions, that it just wasn't I'm not digging or burying. It's been good for me to have that
that's important
chummy time, but I know there's more that I want to work on, and that's just not what's happening.
It's important for a therapist to point out blind spots to the person And I tell
Yeah.
my patients, I'm not running the friendship club.
Yeah.
If you want to get well, let's do it.
Yeah. Lately, I've been feeling like it's very chummy, and I think I've expressed this to a friend recently, and I was like, I'm changing this up. Like, it's been on the warpath, or not the warpath. You know, like my just battle plan for the rest of the year is I've got to change it up, and like probably look at specifically behavioral health therapists.
Well, I would suggest that you challenge your therapist to start challenging you.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to start over. Well,
Oh, you don't. Yeah, I'm not telling you to
oh, like
change
with a new
therapists.
therapist. Yeah, yeah. Oh no, I know. Like I'm weighing that out myself too. I'm speaking out loud right now. Yeah, I could and should be like, please, like, but yeah, I haven't been feeling like I've been challenged in the way that like I ought to be reflective and work on these things. But yeah, that's the next step right now for me.
Well, if that's what you presented with every session,
That's what
that's
happened.
what they were comfortable with.
Yeah. And yeah, I guess I was showing up and being like, here's what my week was like. Yeah. But
You got to peel back the layers of the onion and and share your thoughts and feelings.
yeah.
It's important that you be able to share with significant others, Ryan. Here's how I think, here's how I feel,
Mhm.
and here's what my needs are.
Yeah.
It's important you label and identify how you feel, your thoughts and feelings, because it sounds like you got like a merry-go-round going inside of your head, buddy.
Pretty much. Yeah. I'm in constant thought. But I think I know how I feel in most given situations, and I'm able to communicate that like socially. It's just a lot.
It
And
is.
so I communicate it quite a bit.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Well,
Mhm.
the main thing I would like you to do is start to be aware and accepting of it of yourself.
Which do you think there's like a part that you see that I could focus on like accepting or like peering at, or is it just the whole picture?
Well, I think this self-concept is facts and information you know about yourself.
Oh.
Self-esteem is how you interpret those facts and information, okay?
Mhm.
And then identity formation. What we try to do is help people step back and look at things rather than from them,
Mhm.
okay? Because if we're inside those thoughts, we're getting all tangled up. But if we're able to step back and look at those thoughts and describe them,
Mhm.
and then we're not in them,
Yeah.
or we get tangled up in them. It's a lot of a process of mindfulness, paying attention on purpose, Ryan,
Mhm.
and maybe some medication to slow down that thinking a little bit.
I've wondered about handling my like ADD and it not being caffeine as the solution.
Caffeine is not the solution.
No.
Have you ever been on anything like Ritalin, Vyvanse?
Yeah. So I was on Ritalin Concerta up until I
Okay.
was about 16, and then I just stopped. There was
Okay.
something I don't even know why. If I was just being like emotional or like defiant, non-compliant. But
Well, and again, and this is
I never went back to any of that. And then also it's like, oh, it is the work to like go and be re-diagnosed. Like I don't have a connection to my medical records or anything like that. That was pretty
well,
securely kept.
I don't think it would take a
lot. I could get it
to
done.
just too good to
Sorry.
determine you to diagnose you. I don't think it.
No,
take a
no.
lot.
You probably had me clocked at like 5 minutes.
But you know, I think it would be worth your while to see sit with a psychiatrist, a nurse practitioner, someone, and get something to tone the volume down.
God, probably sounds great.
Oh,
Honestly, it sounds great.
It would definitely help. Here's what I tell people who avoid medication. Would you take medication if you had diabetes? Yes.
Yeah.
Would you, if you had cancer, would you take diabetes? If you had a sore throat, would you take medication? Yes. I said, well, then tell me why you're so hesitant about taking a medication for another disorder.
Is it strange to enjoy like the constant thrum of thought and sound? To feel so stimulated?
No, not at all. Not when you've been doing it for so long.
Yeah.
It's become a pattern of behavior for you. It's become your comfort zone, man.
Yeah. But is it
Unhelpful.
No, I hear your advice. Yeah, yeah. Is it so bad?
It's unhelpful.
Mhm.
But I feel for you because I see all these thoughts jamming around inside you. I can almost see them. They
Just swirling
like,
around.
they're just
Yeah.
like floating around. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like a total whirl out of control.
Yeah. I'm usually on probably like three tracks of thought at any given time, which, yeah, I really have to like hone in and focus on in my day job, which is like a great opportunity too, because I understand the work. So it's like a hard practice and focus. Um, and just like accomplishing things in that mindset feels really rewarding. But like, yeah, what would it look like if I don't know, if I just didn't have that swirling around?
Well, you're an insightful guy. You're well spoken.
Thank
Okay.
you.
You are well spoken. You can describe most everything to our audience and to myself very nicely.
I can over explain it too.
Well, um,
pardon me.
sometimes we have to ask ourselves, do I really want to share this? Do these people really need to know?
Yeah, I don't know. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I tell most uh, anyone at a certain level of conversation or rate of conversation, whatever's on my mind or why, like, I don't know, why I am the way I am. And I do feel comfortable with that. Yeah.
Well, it's getting comfortable with your own self, Ryan. And this is a great point to
I'm almost there sometimes.
this is a great point to get across to our audience that there's help out there.
Yeah.
But you have to. There's a big difference, Ryan, between asking for help and accepting it.
Mm.
Huge gulf. Many people ask for help. Not many are willing to accept it, which means doing the work that needs to be done. What a therapist does is enhance the quality of the medication. It makes the medication work better.
Yeah, that makes sense given so I started taking something for anxiety the start of last year, and so like all my sessions being like wind downs and decompression sessions makes sense. But there's deeper stuff there.
Oh,
like I
absolutely.
want to work on. And yeah, I could definitely treat the ADD. God, it'd stop annoying the heck out of the boys. I've always got ideas. I'm afraid I'd lose my many, many ideas sometimes.
I don't think you'd lose your ideas. I think you'd be able to focus on them and actually maybe
Actualize
on some of them.
Yeah, which would be nice. I only pull off like so many things. Getting trash thrown at me was my brightest idea last year.
I saw that one.
I love it. That's a moment. So like, that's a moment of escapism that like lasts me 5 seconds, but is anything I'd need in a week to survive emotionally.
Well,
I can run off that dopamine.
Our brains are not wired for multitasking, Ryan. They are not.
Ryan keeps trying.
Yes, yes. Well, some people think it's a skill. They put it on their resumes, but
I've definitely referred to it like that too.
Generally, you only get when you're multitasking. Maybe you start 10 things, and maybe you do 5 or 6 or 7 of them halfway or not well.
10% of 10 things.
It's rarely that you complete anything. So imagine you being as well spoken as you are, being able to focus on one of your ideas and see it through to fruition.
Yeah. Yeah. That's something heavy that I've been avoiding my entire adult life, basically. Yeah. I appreciate you pointing that out, honestly. Your capacity to care is great. But that's also your gig. Yeah. I should treat that.
Well, you could.
How good could my matches be? Oh, I'd stop having I could choose to. I should. Is it wrong to say I should to encourage? Because to me that is encouragement, self-encouragement in a way.
Well, it's setting you up for
the possibility to not. I
should. But I have to. I need to. I must. That's that inner critic talking to you. Those are self-defeating words.
I got you. Yeah.
Absolutely self-defeating.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, when I was in therapy school, and I didn't get into it till later.
Is that what they called it?
That's what I called it.
Thanks for putting me up.
Generally, when we would be taught, and I didn't get into this until later. I've been a therapist for 12 years. So in class, when a person would say, "I should," the instructor would just say, "Could."
God, and
They
like,
would
yeah,
they would
reinforcing that.
enforce changing the way you speak to yourself.
Yeah,
Words mean something, Ryan.
yeah, and they can probably shape. They would shape my actions. They could shape my actions if I started using them properly.
Well, words
like internally,
certainly meant something to you when you were growing up.
dude. Yes, big time, and like affected my like self-esteem and yeah, like my own expectation. Yeah.
Well, of course, that's like a politician tells lies. If you tell a lie loud enough and long enough, you begin to believe it.
Yeah.
How could you not begin to believe these things?
Yeah. So like, I don't know. I believe so much less that I'm a liability everywhere I go, as the years kind of crawl on. But that's been the feeling like I've been trying to overcome, is that I'm a liability and like a black hole, for like anything around me. But like, that's not true.
Well, you can go ahead and feel
I
that
could
way
be.
if you want to.
Yeah, and I could be like,
if you choose to feel that way.
I could lead with that feeling and like just leech off people and be shitty. I could do that, and I'd have every justification in the world to. But like, that's every day, just like reminding myself to not be a dirtbag to others because of like how my life experience has been. That was a longer learning process than I would have liked. I probably wasn't like until I was 28, 29 before I started to look at how I was engaging with the world and like how I'm not proud of like I'm not proud of myself in my early to mid 20s. Surprise, surprise. Holler if you hear me. It's been a whole journey just trying to like figure myself out, and you could do it too, because you're really interesting and you're going to be very interested in what you find out especially if you're feeling a little effed up, which I felt from time to time. Sometimes I still feel that way. I feel like will always be working, and I'm at peace with that. Like, I'm excited about that part of my life where like I'm always going to be not always, but like for a long time I'm going to be working on this, and
we never get to the end. There's no finish line.
Okay. Yeah.
We never get to the end. There is no finish line. And I like the way you're talking. I like the way you're talking to yourself right now. We'll be continuing our conversation with Ryan next week, a fascinating conversation delving into the depths of his soul, and a free prescription for you: fruits, nuts, and vegetables. Unplug that television and take up fishing. And for a truly mindful experience without expectations, fish without bait. Do a kindness for another and do a kindness for yourself. Forgive yourself and forgive another. Till all are free, none are free. If we're all not the divine's children, then none of us are. Be good to yourself today and every day. Namaste.
If you're interested in flying the colors of fishing without bait, click the shop icon on our website. We have clothing, mugs, cell phone cases, and so much more. Show the world that you fish without bait. This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at sorgatronmedia.com.